what got you into this work yourself?
Well, I agree absolutely, Brian. So first of all, depression and anxiety are the #1 public health issues, right? And with the pandemic and all the isolation that people had, we definitely saw an increase in people being depressed, more suicidality, more relapses with sobriety during this time. And a big part of that was lack of connections with people, we saw for sure. You were asked what brought me into this. I have always been interested in mental health from a very young age. I am fascinated by people's stories, and everybody's got a story. And by the way, please read Cheryl's Dancing Lessons book if you haven't read it, and Jules' book, beautiful books to read. So as you hear people's stories, you really learn that you're not alone, that we're all human, we have shared experiences. And Cheryl, I'm going to use you as a great example. You're right here, gorgeous, glamorous, talented. People would look at her, she wears fancy gowns and she dances up on, in front of millions of people. Everything must be great. And look what you struggled with. So cheers to you for your grace and Jules' grace and everyone that comes forward. We were talking about Simone Biles coming forward. That helps so much when you share your story. It helps destigmatize, it helps humanize, and we're all so appreciative.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they think of mental health, when I was young, they would think the more extreme scenarios, schizophrenia, just psychosis. But it's just like mental health is how do we feel? Anxiety. Do we have anxiety? How are we managing our feelings? Are we having days where we don't want to get up? I mean, this talk is about depression hacks and what do you do if you're experiencing depression? I like to say, we'll start with you, Cheryl, what are some of the hacks? Like, what are some of the tools that you've been introduced to or modalities that have helped you the most with healing addiction and with healing depression?
Well, first of all, talk therapy. I feel like everyone should have a therapist or at least like some sort of coach, right? That is there, that's not biased, that just tells you how it is in a way. I think communication is so important, whether that be with somebody like a loved one, someone that you feel safe with. Letting it out is important. Listening is important. Listening to other people who may come to you for just to listen. Some people may not even ask for advice. Meditation has really helped me. I try to meditate 15 minutes twice a day. That second part of the day, though, is really difficult, but I try my best. And journaling has really helped. It's called the 5-minute journal, and I just write down like 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I do it again at night, and it just puts you into that mood of just gratitude, right? Like just your outlook is no longer living in the negative space, or like, I wish I would have had that, or why hasn't this happened to me? You're changing your whole perspective by just starting your day living in gratitude, just naming 3 quick things that you're grateful for. So that's helped.
Now, Nicole, you work with Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks Fifth Avenue, the luxury brand, is creating a company called Saks Works, where when you go into work, you can bring your whole self. You can be physically, emotionally, and mentally healthy, but you can also be productive. And you're in charge of wellness, and you're in charge of bringing a lot of those tools to help people not only heal anxiety and depression, or at least get better at dealing with it, but to be more productive. What are some of the tools that you've used for yourself personally in the workplace, and what are some of the tools that you're implementing at Saks Fifth Avenue and Saks Works that have helped people?
So, like Ryan said, I'm the director of wellness at Saks Works, which is a Saks Fifth Avenue sister company. The goal really, with a lot of what we were trying to accomplish, is achieving an environment where you're encouraged and you naturally are getting nudged to kind of like control the things that you can control that achieve like a positive result towards your physical, emotional, and mental health. So we use this curriculum, which we call Jules' 10 Pillars curriculum. Yes, this Jewel. And part of it is it's really boiling down just the core elements that are the most effective in implementing and making large, sustaining changes in your own life. So some of those include sleep, rest, and recovery. As I said, sleep's important. That's something where every single person has access to that. Another one is nutrition. So what we try to do is offer just like a healthy, sustainable cafe where you get access to putting positive inputs in your body that energize you instead of getting, a 2 p.m. sleepy lull. So personally, my diet, my sleep has been an immense factor, but I would be remiss without saying that the most important tool that I've personally used and that I've seen has been profound in terms of corporate athletes, high performance athletes, any athlete that you see out there, has been mindfulness. So I think at the core of everything that has been stupid that I've ever done to myself, or whenever I've been just, again, awful to other people, it's been because I've been believing that I was my thoughts and listening to every single thought that was whirling around my TV, ADD brain from there. It was a crime, truly, to listen to every single one of those. So using mindfulness to understand that I could remove myself from that and just observe the chaos was profound, to put it lightly.
Now, doctor, your clinic is dealing with some mild scenarios and some very challenging scenarios at the highest level.
Right.
So you've seen probably more than anybody within a square mile, more cases of depression. What have you found to be the most effective tools?
So I think many people will be surprised because I'm a psychopharmacologist. I am a neuroscientist. My background is before I went into medical school. I also have a degree in psychology, though. And medications can be important for people, but I was nodding my head so much with what both of you were saying because the absolute most important thing is mindfulness. Being present, being true to yourself, trying to stay positive. I talk, and some people that know me are in the audience today, I talk to every one of my patients about gratitude. I also keep a gratitude journal. That's how I started the day today. And one of the things I was grateful for was the opportunity to be here with all of you and to be able to talk about such important information. Reminding yourself of why it's great to be alive is a very important thing. So medications can very much help people with depression and anxiety and schizophrenia and all of those things. And these illnesses have a neurobiological basis. You can have a genetic predisposition, and you can have chronic stressors and acute stressors that can cause issues as well. But the holistic approach is really the way to go. So making sure that you do maintain sleep, it's hugely important. Having physical activity, you were saying how dance has been such an important piece for you. I always encourage people to move. Having a sense of purpose and meaning. We all need a sense of being connected, and we have a reason to get up in the morning. So I say to many of my people who have depression, we can help you, and I want to help you. And you deserve to have a better life. Lots and lots of people with trauma histories. One of the things we do is bear witness and validate. You've had a rough go of it, but you know what? You deserve a much better life, and how can we help you with that? If you stay with the covers pulled over your head in your bed, you probably won't get better for a while. It's a hard thing, but coming out there, expressing that you need some help, when you told your mother, when you told Brian, I'm depressed, I need to get some help, that's a huge start. And there's so many people that will wrap themselves around you and try to help you have the best life that you can possibly have.
That's great. I mean, we partner with Dr. Blaise Aguirre with Harvard's McLean Psychiatric Hospital. And he's an amazing expert in the field of teen suicide. Mm-hmm. And he says the same thing. He goes, while medication is important, mindfulness should be at the center of all treatment. Mm-hmm. And it has unbelievable outcomes. And we've seen that through Jules' Inspiring Children Foundation. For over 20 years, we've been doing that. And I can tell you, for me, somebody who had depression pretty significantly, I would wake up every day, and it's felt like years. I really don't know how long it was, but I didn't want to get up. And not only did I not want to get up, I had no motivation to do anything at all. And my mind was running a tape that says, I hate this, I don't want to do that, I don't feel like doing this, today's going to suck. It was just this negativity. And I just found some practical tools for me. I'm curious if science has proven it, but like, just get up anyway. I'm going to get up anyway. And I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to look at every house. I'm going to look at the lawns. I'm going to look at the trees. And by the time I got back, I'm about 30% better. Then I'm going to drink some water. Then I'm going to take a cold shower. And each of these steps, I felt a little bit better. And then I'm going to meditate. And then I'm going to drink water again. And then I'm going to pick the first right thing to do for that day. I don't know what it was, but the first right thing to do. And it wasn't until I did the second right thing or the third right thing, all of a sudden around 11 or noon or 2, it would break, the depression would break, and I'd be like, okay, today isn't that bad. And for those of you in the thick of it, that helped me a lot. And then there's other things. I mean, do you draw? Do you anything artistic? Do you paint?
I diamond paint. It's like putting rhinestones. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. Raise your hand if you have, please, so I'm not alone here. All right, my diamond painters. So it's like paint by numbers, and I'm, a ballroom dancer, which means I love rhinestones and glitter. So this is my new addiction, is literally putting one rhinestone onto this canvas that has double-sided tape on it and doing it for hours. And I find it very therapeutic. I listen to Brene Brown as I'm doing it, and I have all the feelings, right? I've also found that was helpful too, like when I was really depressed, would be counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and getting up. And I forgot her name, but what is her name? Her name is, she wrote a book, and it's the 5-second rule. Anyway, I'll come back to you with that. But that was basically the countdown. It just makes you want to get your ass out of bed, really. Makes you want to just pop out of bed and just do whatever you need to do, for me at least. Maybe because I'm a dancer and I start counting anyway, but like counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it just makes me want to start whatever I need to start. So
two things about that, Cheryl. What your act of putting the rhinestones, that's a meditative state for you. And it's getting you out of your own head. I often talk to people, you really need to get out of your own head, whatever it is, depression, anxiety. So depression, we're focusing a lot on the past and things that we cannot change. Anxiety is often focusing on the future and trying to control things we have no control over, which is why it's so important to be present right now at this moment. Nothing is more important than this moment right now. And so you were practicing mindfulness, doing that. And then the other piece is you were listening to Brene Brown, which is fabulous. So Brene Brown is all about positivity. So I also, when I'm in my car, I still have a CD player in my car. I immerse myself with every positive thing, Dwayne Dyer, Brene Brown, every Oprah, everybody you can think of. And that's a good thing. You don't want to.
You have a CD player in your car.
I do. It's an old, I have a CD player. And I love it. I never want to not have a CD player. But just surrounding yourselves with positivity. Brian, you and I were talking ahead of time. I had 2 things on my refrigerator when my girls were growing up. We had no rules in the house except one, and it was, we're 3. It was be kind, be kind, be kind. That was the rules for the girls. And then the second thing it said was, whatever you are, be a good one. And my children, their father is a physician, I'm a physician. Neither one of my girls wanted to be physicians. They just wanted to be happy. And that's the best. Cheryl, you were talking about having children maybe someday. That's the best we want for our children, right? We just want them to be happy, So I just want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think of meditations as a very difficult thing. I, like you, it took me 6 months to even be able to sit there for 30 seconds. Like, my mind was just racing too much. My emotions were too anxious. It felt like misery, to be honest. But Nicole, I know that you learned through Jules' program that 10-second meditation. Can you describe how 10 seconds, just taking 10 seconds to breathe in and breathe out can help somebody? And maybe even, we'll do a few seconds just to demonstrate it to the crowd.
Absolutely. So it's not different from what Cheryl was talking about, where it's almost a 5-second rule of you're saying, okay, who doesn't have 10 seconds in their life, right? Who doesn't have 5 seconds? So what 10 seconds really does is, obviously, meditation can seem intimidating. Turning your life around can seem intimidating. But in terms of the tiniest next step that you can take that tangibly helps you at least move on to the next thing, move on to drinking water, is taking 10 seconds. So what I like to do is very much, we're going to try to run through it. So what we're doing is we're sitting in our chair and you're finding a comfortable position wherever you are. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. If you're comfortable, you can also keep your eyes open, whatever makes the most sense. And so what you're going to do is on your inhale, you're going to count 1. And on that exhale, that's 2. Inhale, 3. And exhale, 4. Now what you're going to do is you're going to try to count your way up to 10. And then once you get to 10, you're going to come back down. The goal isn't to just focus on the numbers. The goal is your mind's going to take you away from what you're doing. And so part of the secret sauce is gently bringing yourself back to whichever number you remember. So we're going to take a handful of more breaths here. You're going to notice some of the running water sounds around you. And just see if you can feel any sensations. If you listen closely, you can hear some of the cars driving by. And whichever breath you are on, take 2 more inhales and exhales. And 1 more. You can open your eyes if they were closed. It's really just noticing the pause that's around you, understanding that you're next to the people that you're around. You can see the beauty that's around you. You can hear, you're in your body again, to your point about mindfulness. And you're not anywhere else. You're not supposed to be anywhere else. That was mind-blowing to me.
Now, doctor, for somebody who tries that and they feel like restless or anxious or it's uncomfortable, what would you say to that? Like, is that working? Does that mean it's not working? What would you say to somebody who says, I can't really just sit there for 10 seconds? Which is really 60 seconds because it's...
I know, I cheated.
And you all have more experience with that, the meditation piece than I do, but what my understanding is there's no right way to do it, right? So I think a lot of us have thought meditation, you have to just blank out your mind and you can't have any thoughts coming in it, and that's not correct, right, necessarily. So I think it's just do what feels right for you. Try to do it for a minute, and then maybe the next time you can do it for 2 minutes, and ideally if you can do it for 10, 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I used, when I first started, I used the Chopra app. Deepak Chopra, he's got some great mindfulness techniques, and he kind of like gets you on your way of being able to have like a mantra meditation and then meditation with no voice, if you wanted to start out like that. I took a course called Ziva online, which is kind of like, it's the twice a day, 15 minutes. Is kind of like transcendental a little bit, so it's mantra based, but it's like a 15-minute per day for 2 weeks, and it really helped me understand the science behind meditation, because I'm not very woo-woo, right? So like for me, it was all about like, does this shit really work, And then I found out it did, right? Like after the consistency of it, and it was changed my life, so.
The love of all that is good. Meditation is not a focus exercise. I had that, could not have been more wrong. I think it's easy to think of it more as a bicep curl. So that made my life a lot easier. In essence, you're supposed to go and get lost in thought in the TV that's playing in your brain. And then you're supposed to gently bring yourself back. Oh no, that's my left arm. That's not my strong bicep. You're supposed to gently bring yourself back. And you're gonna go get lost in thought again. And you gently bring yourself back. And over time, biceps can be, as large as mine are. But it's just 10 seconds. I know Jewel actually has a 10-second meditation on her website, Jewel Never Broken.
It's called jewelneverbroken.com. And there's the gratitude practices. There's a lot of different mindfulness practices there. It's free.
Diamond painting.
Her foundation, the Inspiring Children Foundation's goal for the last 20 years was to give people physical, emotional, mental health. And that's what this festival is supposed to do, to scale that, thanks to Kroger, who really has made wellness and emotional, mental health, and physical health a #1 priority. And I really think they're ahead of the curve. I think during COVID, we realized how important that really is, where before it was only kind of people like us that were into it. Now it's kind of an everybody thing. And a big shout out to your organization for, decades. The Greater Cincinnati Behavioral Health Services Organization has been providing these services to Cincinnati. I mean, literally, they were pioneers, and they were seeing what we needed before we knew we needed it. Let's narrow it down. Hack, so sleep science. Great book called Why We Sleep, if you want a great book on that. Sleep makes a difference. What you eat.
Gratitude.
Gratitude practices. Let's try to get 10. What else can somebody do to take away?
Move.
Movement,
Physical fitness.
Yeah. Dancing.
Ideally dancing.
Well, anything. Movement is movement, right?
Do you ever dance alone, like just by yourself for fun? Is that
That's
still?
a personal question. I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, I'm always dancing at something, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm always choreographing. I might be a part of season 30 next season. Don't say
Yay.
anything.
Maybe.
Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, I'm always like music. By the way, is very therapeutic too. So like I love like I can really tap into my emotions because I'm a professional number. So when it comes to feeling my feelings, I need to feel it through music most of the time. So
Well, you guys got to see Quinn 92. He performs, I think, at 5 o'clock or in the main stage. And if you have young nieces and nephews like I do, he's really hip and cool. But his first song is going to be called "I'm High Right Now," and our kids listen to it. And we talk to them about how do you get high the right way, a high that's sustainable. You know, I've tried the high that goes like this and then goes like this, and it doesn't work. What you guys are talking about is how do you get high in a way that works? Dance, exercise,
Sense of purpose and meaning.
sense of purpose and meaning, and unpack that. How does somebody find their sense of purpose and meaning?
You have to have a reason to get up in the morning and feel, and not be just in your own head, in yourself. So you need to be connected with somebody. Somebody out there needs you, or is going to. We have signs all over our agency saying, work is therapy, volunteering is therapy.
yeah.
Knowing that there's somebody that's looking forward to seeing you the next morning, or says, "Have a great weekend. You know, see you on Monday." That sense of being connected, or that they made a difference in someone's life. I've been so rewarded in my career because every single day I feel like I've touched someone's life and someone's touched my life. I learn from every patient I'm with, every person, every encounter. Got to have a sense of connection and purpose. We have people we're like, hey, volunteer in the animal shelter. They need people to walk those dogs. You know, how about in a nursing home? They need people that will be supportive and have a kind ear. Anything like that.
So like be of service, right?
Yes, be of service. How can I? That's the other thing. So gratitude. I wake up every morning in gratitude, and then I also think, how may I serve? And that's how I approach every person that I see. How may I serve? You know,
Even if that
just
means like letting the Prius go by you first.
Right.
Before.
Be
Right.
kind,
Sorry
be
for all my
kind, be
Prius
kind.
drivers.
be kind, be kind, be kind.
And I'm a big fan of the AA program. I think they were just like light years ahead.
Yeah,
And
totally.
every day they're going to have an AA meeting in the meditation lounge over there at 10 a.m. But the mentoring in AA is unbelievable. Can you share?
Yeah.
That I think is a hack for depression. Having someone to talk to.
Sponsor.
Yep.
A therapist, but I love I'm new to the AA program, even though I've been sober for 3 years. I just started the program about 3 months ago, and I'm currently working the steps, and I have a sponsor, and it's been life-changing for sure.
So you feel there was a difference when you went from like, I'm just going to will it and I'm going to stop and I'm going to better myself and stop using, coping mechanisms. Now you're like, I'm going to go through this program and go through, and has it helped?
It has, but it's not, I'm not going to lie, it's been painful too, like some of these steps, it really just throws everything in your face, and like you have to be honest and real with yourself, or else you're just wasting your time. And then to believe in a higher power, that's been really hard for me in the past, but like there is no working the steps without that. So and it doesn't have to be God. It could be love. It could be just a higher power, knowing that there is something there that's bigger than yourself. So that's helped too.
And Nicole, I know you've been a mentor to a lot of young girls in Jules Foundation, and you've had mentors. Jules been a mentor to you. How about meaningful conversations? How have that helped you?
I mean, there are so many elements around meaningful conversations that have been healing, that have been inspiring. One of them is, to your point, having a community, having connection, having someone that is there, that is keeping you strong, holding you accountable. Another element to that also is that aspect of, as you mentor someone else, you're really mentoring yourself. It's the wisdom that you're tapping into. It's another form of accountability for saying, am I getting down my basics? Am I really treating myself the way that I would want to treat this young human? But there's just so much, I guess, emotional intelligence that I think comes with just talking to people and learning and sharing insights. And I definitely learned far more from talking to someone else than I did trying to be in my head, very mental and whatnot. So I think there is something about learning consistently as you listen to Brene Brown and other people and sharing wisdom and understanding that when you pair all these tools together, combined with that wisdom, that it's kind of this unstoppable force.
Well, Cheryl, I want to thank you. I mean, I love ballroom dancing. I love dancing. I'm not as good as you are, but I love dancing. But to see you, mastering this dancing through life, making life a dance, it's beautiful to see. And I think you're going to impact, I know you're going to impact so many more people through that avenue than just dancing on the stage. And I know you've affected a lot of people here today, and coming to our festival means a lot to Jewel and to Kroger. Doctor, you were ahead of your time.
Thank you.
So 30 years. I mean, I like to brag, like, we've been doing this for 20 years, long before it was cool. I mean, mental health is cool now. It wasn't cool when you got into this game. So you're an OG, and you really, you're a pioneer. Seriously, you and Jewel. Jewel was doing it 30 years ago, and when people kind of even sneered at it. So good for you, and thank you. And then Nicole, you've been a huge asset to our organization. It's great to have you up here. And thank you, everybody, for coming today. And this topic is really important. And we hope
Thank you for doing everything that you do. You never get a thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming to the Wellness Experience, everybody.